Hello and welcome to this video called Your Emotional Roller Coaster. And we're going to have a little bit of fun with this video, but the reality is this is a very serious issue that knocks a lot of people out of the business. So I want you to be aware of it in advance so that you can know what you're dealing with and therefore take proactive approaches to keep yourself from being hurt and instead utilize this roller coaster to create momentum in your business rather than slow you down. And what we're talking about is this. You know, when you first saw the business, you came home from the opportunity meeting, maybe driving home you started having hope you haven't had before. We've heard some people say you're on hopium because you feel so great because of the hope you have. And you're driving home, you're excited, you're thinking about who's going to want to build a business with you. You're already living in a different zip code. Things are starting to feel good. The pressures of your job maybe aren't as strong anymore because you have belief that maybe that can change over time. And I got to tell you, I had those same feelings when I came home the first night from seeing this business. And it wasn't long later, I was able to get out of my job at General Motors and pursue my business full time. But I got to tell you, from the time of seeing that meeting for the first time to the reality of escaping my job, there was a lot of emotions in there. And many times I thought about quitting. And I'm glad that someone went over this with me. In fact, my first week of the business, they covered this section with me. And I want to cover it with you the same way it was covered with me. And you're coming home, you're excited now. And maybe you get home and you tell your spouse about it. Honey, I saw something tonight I'm so excited about. You know, you're riding the hopium if you can. You're way up here. You're loving life. And it's okay to be excited. You want to be excited. But you have that conversation with your wife or your husband or your son, your daughter, whoever it is. And they say, you've got to be kidding me. You fell for one of those presentations? You actually believe that you can make money in one of those things? They just want your money or they want your contacts. They don't really believe you're going to stick around and make any money. Did they ask you for an investment? They'll ask you all kinds of things. What happens is they start beating it up and you can't help it. Your emotions start to do something. They start to fall, right? And maybe you're sitting there going, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, and you get a phone call. Or they gave you a CD to listen to, or a video to watch, and you watch that video or listen to that CD, and you know what? Something happens. You go, wait a minute. I do believe I can make it in this business. I've just got to show them a few things. I've got to educate them on a few things so they'll see things the way I see them. After all, they didn't even see the presentation I saw. How could they judge it? And you start thinking a little bit correctly, and then all of a sudden you start getting hopium again. And you start getting excited, right? And you make some calls, and you got a few people who said they're interested in the product or the service. And they're going to come to a meeting maybe. So you've got a couple people lined up to come to the local meeting. And you get there and it's 7 o'clock and the meeting starts at 7:30 and it's 7:15. You were told to be there early, so you are. And you're all ready to go. And 7:25 comes. Your friend isn't still there yet. You told him to be there at 7:15. It's now 7:29. They're starting to get everyone in the room to get the meeting started. Your friend still hasn't showed up. You're hanging out at the door now, right? What's starting to happen? You're starting to feel, uh-oh, maybe this person's not going to show up. And then the meeting starts and they didn't show. So meanwhile, you're in the presentation, watching the presentation, and instead of being honed in and being educated and learning how to do the presentation or communicate the business better, you're focused on the fact that things aren't going really good. And your emotions are going where? Down. Your head is in a totally different place even though your body's sitting in the seat. And then you get home that night and there's an answering machine on there's a message on your voicemail. And you listen to the answering machine. Nobody has an answering machine anymore. You listen to your voicemail, and there's a message that says, you know what, I looked all over, I couldn't find it. I may have written the address down wrong or something because I circled buildings after building after building, and I couldn't find the meeting. What starts happening? Oh my goodness, he is interested. And you start getting excited again. And see, I gave you a couple silly scenarios that do happen, and they really do hurt your emotions. What happens in this business is this continues. And by the way, doesn't this happen in your marriage? Right? You get married, everything's good and exciting, something happens. And then you're not real happy about your marriage. And then something happens, you're so excited about your marriage. And something happens, you're not having kids. Oh, the elation of childbirth. Oh, I've got, as the father anyway. And the mother once the baby's born. And you're all excited, and then what happens is the first time you got to stay up through the night and you're exhausted. You're going, oh my gosh, this is tough. And this is called life. But in this business, many of us check out when things get rough. When things are going down, many of us check out. And at this point right here, what happens is a critical event, something happened here that turned the emotion south. And something happened here that turned the emotion north. And then something happened here, and here, and here. And this Our life is nothing more than a continuation of event after event after event. Some are great and we keep feeling good, and some aren't so great and we start feeling bad. And when we start feeling bad, what do we need? Some people say, go for a walk, you'll feel better. Go for, pick up the phone and call a friend. Think about a good vision, something to make you feel better, right? Go for a workout, get your body pumping again. Something will turn your lull down, turn your lull around. In this business, though, what we say is a lot of times it's belief about the business that you're dealing with or suffering from. So we say plug in a tape, plug in a CD, listen to an MP3, watch a video, call your upline. When you're down, there's an old statement, write this down. When you're down, call up. Call up. Don't call your downline. If you call your downline with a complaint, it's like putting poison in a stream. You can never pull it out. You've just brought them down too. And then they call someone and everyone's a little more devastated. Instead, call someone up in your upline, a leader who believes. You get on the phone with a leader who believes, you're not going to have negative thoughts about this business after you're talking to someone who's making great money or believes they're going to be making great money in this business. You're not going to have self-doubt. So when you're up, make a lot of calls. When you're down, call up to start getting yourself rejuvenated again. Plug in a good tool. Do something to stay plugged in. And that's why you'll hear people say, focus on the tools every day. Be coachable continually. Make calls to a lot of people. Build relationships with your upline, especially the leaders who don't get knocked out of the box. When you're new, you can get knocked out of the box. When you've been around for a while, nothing's going to knock you out of the box. So call your upline when you're here. Call your downline when you're here, because they may need to hear a good, positive call. And as you go through this over time, what you want to do is you want the frequency of this, you want it to start to flatten out. You're always going to have ups and downs, but you don't want to get too excited and you want to get too down. You want to kind of be more controlled. You meet people who are up in years or have been in an industry for a while. They get real wise about the industry, and it takes a lot to shake them. You don't want to be shakeable. Up front, you will be, though. Remember your first job? You were pretty green, pretty nerve-wracking. Maybe didn't even know how to punch in on your job. But after a while, you had the whole job down pat. You weren't concerned about where you were going. Everything felt good. This business will be the same way. Over time, you'll become an expert, and because of the trainings you have access to, all you got to do is plug it in, play them, and then apply what you've learned. And keep repeating that. Deal with the hardships through it. You're going to have ups and downs. Deal with it and keep going on. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you've already watched the module on your reason why, this is a great time to focus on your reason why. When you're in the lows, when you're starting to feel a little bit down, think about your reason why. You'll hear some people say, put your reason why in your rearview mirror, or put it on your mirror where you brush your teeth. Somewhere so you see it every day, because when you're focusing on your reason why, it's real hard to get too low. It's real hard to get too far down. So have a relationship with your upline, focus on your reason why, and watch how this smooths out over time. But certainly, don't ever quit this business during a low. Never quit during a low, because you're not thinking straight. You're following some negativity. Make sure you stick it out, stay the course, plug in with people who are positive, and you will win this game. It is only a matter of time before, like me, escaping General Motors, you'll be escaping your job too. Thank you for watching The Emotional Roller Coaster.